Very nice to see everyone. We've got a nice crowd tonight. It looks like we have about 300 people just in our starting, which is a very good thing because I have a lot to talk about tonight. Probably more than anything because last week we couldn't do this, and I hate when I miss something, when I say I'm going to do it and then I don't. I couldn't. We had a whiteout or something like that in South Florida. What's it called?
Blackout.
Blackout. Oh, wrong color. Black. White. Okay, wrong color. But it was an outage of some sort. So, so I want to catch up, and I want to talk to you about viruses. The virus, and also just viruses in general, because no one really knows if they've got this darn thing. I shouldn't say no one. Many people have gotten this virus and have not been tested, is my sense. I can't prove it, but I believe my husband and I had it about 6 weeks ago, and that my 3 sons had it, and many others that I know, clients, students who have reported. And let's get into it. So for those who know me, I'm Joette Calabrese, or don't know me, I'm Joette Calabrese, a homeopathic practitioner and educator, and more importantly, a mom who raised her kids solely on homeopathy. And for those who do know me, welcome. It's great to see everyone. So I wanted to go over something that I think is pretty interesting. You might want to, well, first let me tell you that I broke the law yesterday. I went in the ocean. I swam. God forbid. I actually did it. I ran in my bathing suit off to the beach. There wasn't a soul there. I was practicing social distancing because, trust me, there wasn't a single person anywhere in sight. The beaches are closed. And I broke the law. I ran in, went into the water, and swam. And then got out and ran back because I'm chicken. But I also understand that our neighbor was told that a windsurfer was ticketed with a $5,000 ticket. Now, I don't know if they're expecting him to actually pay it or they just threatened him that he was going to have to pay it. But we live in a cuckoo world. It is crazy. This beach is, and the ocean is for us. So, at any rate, I worry that the information that is getting out there is skewed. And I haven't quite completely figured it out yet, but I've been watching Dr. Fauci for years. I've been following his career for a very long time. He was the guy who kind of gave us some really strange information about HIV and AIDS. He was the guy that declared the HPV vaccine was a really good idea for 11 and 12-year girls. He was also the guy that declared that the MRI connection with autism, MRI vaccine and autism, was bad science. If you watch him on YouTube, go back and watch what this guy said, because remember, he's the one who said this virus that we're dealing with today is 10 times worse than the flu. Fascinating that he had those numbers right like that, right at the of his tongue, right at his fingertips. He knew exactly what the numbers were, so he could multiply it by 10 and know that that was the number of deaths or the danger of this particular virus. Well, how did he know if we don't know what the numbers are? And my suspicion is that there could be changes in this virus. There could be mutations. They're already talking about that it might be a virus acting in thusly in Europe and another way in China and acting in a different way in certain parts of the United States. And I certainly have seen lots of different kinds of symptoms showing up with folks who contact me. Now, when my husband and I had it, I want to go back because I do want to talk about that, but I do want you, and I think that Natalie is going to put this up here, that you might want to check out this Dr. J. Bhattacharya. J-A-Y, Bhattacharya. And he's on Uncommon Knowledge, is the name of the YouTube program by Peter Robinson. It's one of my favorite programs. I think it's very informative. And he was interviewed, and it's called Up with Dr. J. Bhattacharya. And he is a medical doctor as well as a PhD in economics. Good combination here, because it is kind of what we're talking about. So I want you to watch that if you're at all interested. He's with Stanford University. He's done some research. It's small study, but nonetheless an important one. And so I think that before we can declare that what the death rate is from this, we need to know how many people have it. And we don't know that. So we need a denominator before we can come up with a numerator. Kind of an interesting mathematical, basic, sophomoric way of figuring out what the death rate is. Now, I'm not minimizing this, because anyone who's suffering from this or any virus needs our compassion. And I know that, as I said, my husband and I and my sons all had this. We believe. We were not tested. One of my sons works for a large organization, large corporation, and they told him to talk to the doctor before he came into work. And so he talked to the corporate medical facility, and they said, oh, you've got it, based on the symptoms. So his symptoms were precisely like his brothers and his parents. That's my husband and me. So my experience with this, and people are asking me over and over again, how bad was it? Well, one day, probably the second day, maybe the third, it's hard to remember now, I really was not well enough to do much of anything. It was a Sunday night. It lasted about 8 hours that I was really out of commission. I couldn't do anything. But I took my homeopathic medicines, and at that time, I was still uncertain what I should be taking. But I almost always take something that the Banerjees taught me. They're not using it specifically, as a matter of fact. Dr. Pradeep Banerjee just put something out recently. It's not what he's been using for this, but it's what I use for myself, and I've been teaching my students and clients to use, and that is Aconitum 200 mixed with Bryonia 30. Now, I've got this infographic that we've designed, and it talks about Lola not worrying about viruses, colds, and flus, and the medicines that I have used and that I've been finding useful for the viruses that are going around, whatever they may be called, COVID-19, COVID-12, whatever they might be. This is the method. And I'm going to go over them now. I'm not keeping this a mystery. And if you go to my website and you go to joettecalabrese.com/lunch, and the reason for that is because I was going to be speaking at a luncheon engagement through the National Center for Homeopathy. It happens to have been canceled, and that's when I was going to teach this, so I thought I'd use it for this as well. So you go to joettecalabrese.com/lunch, and you will be able to download this infographic. So what I used, because I felt it in my chest, and I felt extreme fatigue, was I started with Aconitum 200 mixed with Bryonia 30. And I used it about every 3 hours. Now, it's hard for me to remember exactly how I did it, but if you go with, in the very beginning, you can use it a little bit frequently than that, maybe every 2 hours, maybe even every 1 hour. You take it for about 3 to 4 doses closer together. As you start seeing improvement, you back off. What's improvement, by the way? Improvement is when you feel better, you feel improved, or you fall asleep, or you still don't feel so well, but you're not as frightened, because that does matter. There's a sense of foreboding sometimes when we get sick, and we want that to calm down. So I've always, ever since I learned this from Pradeep and Dr. Prasanta Banerjee, I have used aconitum 200 mixed with Bryonia 30. Now, if you're a student or a client of mine, you can purchase that from OHM Pharmacy. If you're not, you can get the two medicines and open up one, put it in your mouth, hold it, open up another, put a dose of that in your mouth, hold it. Now suck on both. That's how you mix them together. Very simple, very easy. So it's aconitum napellus mixed with Bryonia, 230. Now the Banerjees are not using that for this particular, and we'll go over that quickly. Then what I love about aconitum is that it's great for quick onset. And at the onset of a cold or a flu or a sore throat or a cough or a chest sensation. Covers all of those. And aconite also happens to cover those people who are coming down with pneumonia, those who had pneumonia in the past, have had bronchitis in the past. If they start with aconitum, it has been shown, and I've had it reported to me many times, that aconitum aborts it. It actually stops the action of the pneumonia progressing. So aconitum not only fits because at the time I didn't know what it was, cough, cold, chest, lungs, throat, overall quick onset, not only fits that, but because this particular virus that seems to be going around these days is often ends in pneumonia. And so it's the last stage. So we might be able to, don't know for sure, but we might be able to abort that opportunistic pneumonia early on by using aconitum 200 and then mix it with Bryonia. Now I'm watching my colleagues in homeopathy. I'm watching what they're doing. I'm joining their webinars. I read what they say. Those from all over the world, from Africa. I'm in touch with an Indian friend. I'm in touch. These are colleagues, a homeopath in Sri Lanka and the U.S. and Canada, and I'm in close touch with a lot of these folks. And what they're telling me is that a lot of what they're finding is similar, not exact, but similar to what I have found. And that is, so far, with whatever virus it is that people are getting, Bryonia seems to be very good medicine. So after the first couple of days that my husband and I took aconitum and Bryonia, and we took some other medicines too. I've talked about that in earlier Facebook Lives, but as I'm fine-tuning and I'm realizing which are the ones that have been the most valuable. And I believe that the next valuable was simply old, garden variety Bryonia all by itself. And I've been using it in a 30th potency. And again, every 3 hours. As always in homeopathy, remember, homeopathy is not a supplement. It's not a vitamin. It's not an essential oil. What this is a medicine. When you take medicines, just like if you had a headache and you took Tylenol, you would take it when you have it. You would not take it when you don't have the headache. So if you have a headache and you take Tylenol and the headache goes away, then you back off. You don't take it again. If the headache returns, what do? You come back to it again and you repeat it. So this is a medicine not unlike Tylenol is a medicine. So you take it as you need it and you back off when you don't. So it's much different paradigm than when we use something like supplements or vitamins, where you just take them because, well, I don't know, I must be low in vitamin D, so I'll just take some vitamin D. So it's a different paradigm. So what I'm telling you is you're going to take it, if the way I took it was every 3 hours in the beginning, then every 6 hours, and then I was doing fine. My husband and I were working. My husband had a cough. We were using cuprum, we use antimonium tart, but to be honest, in the end, what really helped my husband's cough, believe it or not, was eupatorium. And I'm going to talk about that too, because he was 80 and had a cough. And eupatorium, and it's on my, right here, eupatorium. Now you can use it in a 30th potency or a 200 potency. The Banerjees, our Dr. Prateep Banerjee is recommending it in a mother tincture. Eupatorium, a little harder to get in the U.S., but not horrible. It's a lot easier to find boron at Whole Foods, or unfortunately Amazon's not doing such a great job these days. They're sending the wrong medicines. You order arnica and they send you something else. So you might want to be a little more careful about that. But eupatorium made a difference for my husband's cough in the end, and also his fatigue. So we were both plagued with fatigue, and bryonia was good for the cough and the respiratory. I had very heavy sensations in my chest. I felt weakened in my chest. So did my husband, and my sons experienced that as well. And so when we use the bryonia, it seems to release it. Then I was also using gelsemium in a 30 or 200th potency. Again, it's gelsemium is right here. I write 30 or 200 potency, especially useful for fatigue. Now, I had crushing fatigue. When I didn't take the medicines, that's what I felt. As long as I took the medicines, it relieved me. And that's what you should expect too. That when homeopathy works, you know it works because you're able to get on with your duties. I did not miss any time at my work. And long hours, I work all day, well of the night. I take 2 quick breaks during the day. My husband and I have breakfast, or actually lunch, and we have dinner together. I also, early in the morning, I go for a walk and sometimes a swim, and then the rest of the day is work. So I want you to know that those are the main ones that we used. But arsenicum album presented for me. I believe I did not take it. Didn't last long enough. I was too busy to get up and get the medicine, so I didn't take it. But arsenicum album, very important here. Where'd it go? Right here. Great for nausea, gastrointestinal cramps. I had some abdominal cramps. Great for anxiety, fear of germs. What do you know? The whole world has fear of germs right now. There's thirst. There's anxiety. I said that. There is restlessness. There's difficulty sleeping. Sometimes there's diarrhea. And so that can be very useful as well. If I were using bryonia, gelsemium, aconitum 200 with bryonia, and there were gut issues as well that I just described, I would not hesitate to use 2 medicines or even 3 medicines, not at the same moment, alternating. Every few hours I would alternate depending on which medicine was presenting, which conditions were presenting. That's the way I would use this, and it is the way that I did use it. Now, it was over with pretty much completely in about, 8 days, 9 days, something like that. I was not sick the whole time. I just knew that if I didn't take the medicines, I would feel sick. I'd forget, oops, here it comes again, heaviness in my chest, chronic fatigue, take the medicine. It would, in about an hour or 2, I would be revived and I'd be back to work again. Now, it's been some time since we had this. And I would say just a few days ago and a week before that, I had what I might call a little relapse. The symptoms came back again. So what did I do? The last medicine that I had taken, which was the one that I believe was the most beneficial, was bryonia 30. Even though I had the crushing fatigue, bryonia covers that as well. I took a dose of bryonia and it was gone in about an hour. That happened a week ago. Then again, as I said, it happened just the other day, and I took it again. So when someone gets a relapse, whether we're talking about sore throat, ear infection, urinary infection, eczema, food intolerances, instead of saying, oh no, it's back again, say, oh, what was the last medicine I used that acted so well? Think, if you had a headache and you took Tylenol and it got rid of the headache, would you say, oh no, it's back again? No, you'd say, oh, time to take Tylenol again. And that's the way I want you to think about this. Only instead of Tylenol, you're using something that doesn't just treat the symptoms. We look for a loftier value of our medicines. Instead, homeopathy uproots the condition and rids you of it. That's the goal. Look, I'm not going to tell you it's perfect. I'm not going to tell you it's going to work in every single case. There's no such thing as that. on this earth that I'm aware of that is 100%. Nothing in life is 100%. But I have to say that this is the closest medicine I've ever found, and I've investigated them thoroughly over my 68 years, very thoroughly, and this is the medicine that has done the most good for my family and me and my clients and students. Again, I'm going to remind you, do not believe for 1 second that this is an absolute, but it's a great way to prepare yourself and your family with knowing what to use, own it, own the potency that I'm talking about. If you don't have that potency, I always say if you don't have what you need, use what you've got. If you don't have Bryonia in a third, all you've got it in is a 6, use the 6. No trouble. Meanwhile, however, order the 30 because it may indeed work better for you, because it has worked so well for many others as well. All right. I also want to tell you that you may not, excuse me for a moment, let me take a sip of water. If you have full confidence, do all of this. If you don't have full confidence, make sure you've got a good doctor. In fact, all of us should have a good doctor. Someone that we can count on, a medical professional that we can trust. And I always say, make sure he or she's got gray hair. You want someone with lots of clinical experience. You want someone who's moved far enough away from their training of pharmaceutical for every ill that they've now recognized that there is a better, potentially better way. They may not be open to homeopathy. No problem. Doesn't mean you can't use it. But you want someone who uses common sense and sees that, gee, I've kind of noticed that every time I administer an antibiotic for a child that soon after, or an adult, that not long after they have food intolerances and gut problems. What do you know? Here's a concept that we were not taught in medical school, but I am noticing that. That's the kind of doctor you want. I urge you to get Dr., and I've said this before, Dr. Robert Mendelssohn's book, How to Raise a Healthy Child in Spite of Your Doctor. It's an old book written in the 60s, 70s, I believe. You can probably buy it used for about $1. It's not just for children. It's for an understanding of how to take responsibility for ourselves and our families. That's what I'm afraid is missing here in what's going on, is that we're not allowed to take responsibility for ourselves. And instead, someone else is making a decision for us. And those other people are, we don't know what their motives are. No, we know nothing. We only know what we can see. And, okay, here we go. Now, let me see if we can get some questions or some statements in here. I was amazed, Nora says, how fast Bryonia acted to rid pressure in congested chest. Remember Bryonia not just for this, but anytime you have a cough or a cold. This is amazing medicine, this Bryonia. It doesn't, and that's not the only indication. If you look at my Materia Medica, you're going to find Eupatorium here. But if you look up Bryonia, you're not going to believe what else it covers. It covers breast pain in even boys, adolescents, not just women that are menstrual. Read Bryonia. You're going to love this medicine. Okay, if we use prophylactic homeopathy, are we still able to acquire antibodies? I don't know. My sense is that certainly it's not like an antibiotic. It is a medicine that will help you withstand the onslaught, but I can't tell you. And I do believe that's a very valid question, because we want the antibodies. What are we going to do when this comes around again? Are we going to all hide again behind masks? No, we need to get these antibiotics. What we should be doing is not sequestering the whole world, but protecting those who are vulnerable, the aged, those who have high blood pressure, those who have diabetes, those who have COPD, those who have asthma. I get that. Let's protect them as best we can and allow society to continue to build immunity. Immunity building is part of our immune education, and we need to be educated in so many ways, don't we? So pretty sure I had it back in, Neely says, back in December, was really sick. I tried several things, but Bryona 30 and belladonna seemed to help the most. I do believe that this virus has been going on for quite some time. I have far too many people reporting every time I meet with a client and when I meet with my students live, in my study groups in the evenings, I ask, who's had it? Who's been sick? What have you used? I want to know. I'm collecting the data. And many people are telling me that they had it back in December. Is there any value to the liquid homeopathic combos with Bryona, immune stimulator from professional something or other? I don't know. I mean, all I can say is that as long as it's got the medicines in there, I would not be too worried about it. Amazon has also had one remedy pictured, but a different remedy in the description, making it unclear. Don't trust Amazon. I mean, I don't know that I would really ever completely trust them, even though I purchase remedies from them. You're better off buying directly from Boron, and you get a discount if you just put in the code Joette when you go to check out. I get no affiliate. There's no affiliate program. I get no kickbacks. This is for you to get a discount. What infographic is this one? This is brand new. It's all new. So all you have to do is go to joettecalabrese.com/lunch on my website or anywhere, and you'll be able to download it for free. So, and it does help you. Now, I gave you the potencies. I did not give you the frequencies because I just explained frequencies, how often to use it. And I didn't want to write long information. You're going to use it closer together in the beginning as it's needed. And then as you improve, you're going to open it up to every 3 hours, every 6 hours, maybe every 8 hours. Oh, I need it sooner than 8 hours. I feel at the 7th hour after the last dose. Okay, every 7 hours. And then you follow that. Just keep a little record. Okay, let's see what other questions we've got. A lot of folks here tonight. Chills keep coming back. That's my main. Oh, chills. All right. So chills usually, not always, usually indicate euphorium. And that's over here. And you is fever, achy, specific acute viral conditions, must hold the chest during a cough. I didn't say chills in there, but eupatorium does incorporate chills. Eupatorium, EUPATORIUM, 30 or 200 potency. Excellent, excellent medicine. It's used for dengue fever. My colleague and friend in Sri Lanka uses it in the wet dose, as the way he describes it is he puts it in a liter bottle, pours out a little bit of the liter bottle, puts the remedy in the bottle, 1 dose. If you've got liquid dose or if you've got pills, wait for it to dissolve. If there are pills, close the cap, hit it 10 times. That's called potentizing. It's not magic. It's chemistry. It's called potentizing. And then 1 tablespoon becomes your dose. And he's had very good results with that, so I'm going to pass that on to folks. Have you found cinchona to be useful as allopathy is finding quinine? I have not. Cinchona, which is China, can be useful for fatigue, but I've not found that to be useful. Okay, yes, keep it simple. Which book is beside you that has the dark cover and spine falling apart? I know, I just glued it again the other day. Isn't this terrible? This is the 2nd time I've done this, 3rd time. This is the Concordant Materia Medica by Franz Vermeulen. Excellent. Look at this. Look at the mess. I've got another copy of it up north, but I thought I could get a couple more years out of this. I think I'm just going to have to replace it. My problem is I don't like to replace books because my notes are in here, and it means a lot of transcribing. All right. I think my son had this as well at the end of February, and the symptoms tracked yours. I used exactly the same course of remedies, aconite and rhino mix, then gelsemium for fatigue, and then arsenicum because they ended up with stomach. Lasted about 1 week, but let's see. Ended up stomach. Lasted about 1 week, but only mildly serious. High fever for 1 day. Yay for homeopathy. Okay, fevers, back to eupatorium. Fever, eupatorium. Remember that, fever, achiness. And I didn't get that. My husband got a little bit of it, but I never got that. And that is a common set of symptoms. One of the sons got that. Your brain was excellent for it. Absolutely. Chronic cough caused by Marcons, Bryonia spongina, Nux femur, often tried, nothing has helped. Well, coughs, I would go with, I love Aconitum bryonia. I would start with something like that. It's a great medicine for coughs. There are others, Ipecac, certainly possibility. My daughter, it seems to present in her throat, and she received some from Hepar 30. Hepar Sulf is right here, sore throat. Hepar Sulf 30 for sore throat. Very good. Can be used maybe if there isn't a sore throat, ear infection. Absolutely. When you get a copy of what you're holding up, go to joettecalabrese.com/lunch. And it's going to be printed here as well. I don't know if it has been yet, but Natalie will print it out here. She's one of my team members. Okay. Look at phosphorus. Look at Cali Carb. Yes, those are all good medicines for later on as the disease progresses. If you haven't caught it early enough and you have to go to those, this is pretty much in the earlier and middle stages. As we get to later stages, we do have to look at potential of phosphorus, Cali Carb, and let's see what else we have here. Cali Carb, yeah, carbovegetables for breathlessness, inability to breathe. That can be all very helpful. Get Mendelssohn's book free online. How to Raise a Healthy Child in Spite of Your Doctor. Don't just look at the subject that you're interested in. Don't just look at eczema or ear infections. Read the whole book from cover to cover. It will give you a foundation of understanding of how we should be treating our families ourselves. Look at euphrasia. Absolutely. I'm not afraid now that I know about homeopathy. Deborah is not exactly. That's why I can sing. This did not frighten me. Even in the beginning, I said, what am I missing here? Should I be afraid? I'm not afraid. I'm just not afraid of this. Now, I don't want to be silly, but I've gotten through many, many issues, not only for myself and my family, but with many of my clients. I see how homeopathy acts. And again, I'm not going to promise it's going to take care of absolutely everything. Hi, Carmen from Ontario. All righty, let's see what else we've got here. Yes, get out and get immunity. I love homeopathy, Diane says. I'm almost positive my son had it at Christmas time. Yeah, December. I really think this started. A couple people have told me late November, so I believe yes, it was around Christmas. I believe that I had it in the middle of November. I had fever, chills, headache, and fatigue. I want to go out and get it to be done with this. You bet, Wendy. I believe I had it. I used Cali Carb 200 once. It got into my lungs. I used antimonium tart. I had to be honest. I had used antimonium tart back then too, and it fished it off Ipecac on occasion. Nice job, Sarah. Sarah's a client and student of mine. Nice to see you. Nice job. Absolutely. I had used antimonium tart too, and it did help me in the beginning, but then I found myself with Bryonia was really my best. Do we get a boron discount in Canada? I don't think so. Sorry to say, Wanda. Had gastrointestinal symptoms, sore throat, took arsenicum. Yep, I'm pretty sure my husband and daughter had it in January. See how this is working? Should we keep Banerjee Thuya 30 twice a week? Oh, that's a good point. My husband stayed using Thuya 30 every single day throughout most of the whole thing for him. In the beginning, just before it started for him. And I don't know whether or not it made it better, but I will put it to you this way. I trust Banerjee protocols. I trust them. Why do I trust them? Because they have clinical evidence, time and again. Now, do they have clinical evidence for this particular virus? Not yet, but they have 150 years worth of experience, cumulative experience. I don't question them. I happen not to know what their protocol was because they didn't really have one when my husband and I were sick. So I used what I'd learned by being there with them back over the years. How often should we take remedies for prevention? Well, the Banerjees are saying, Dr. Banerjee is saying Thuya 30. I think he's saying once a day. Is he saying that? Twice daily. All righty. How often? Okay. When I think I had used Carboveg and arsenicum, okay. Let's see. Not magic. You're right. Children had February, used what you did, but antimonium tart and phosphorus worked for the cough. I'll buy your old book. With all my notes in it, Kelly. Yeah, great idea. Thuya has a reputation for helping people assimilate vaccines. Thuya 30 and Thuya 200. Need I say more? Get your materia medica rebound. Yes. Yes. I have gotten a rebound twice, and then I tried to do it again. I tried and didn't show discount. You don't see the discount on boron until you go to check out. A while back, you mentioned your eczema was showing itself under your eye. Do you use the Banerjee protocol? If not, what? Here it is. My eyes are great. Can you see? They're great. And I'm seeing, and I'm living in Florida, and there's lots of pollen, and I'm not accustomed to this weather here. So I feel a little itchy the other day. So I took my Bovista 200C. That's all I'm taking for it now. I was using petroleum because it had gone all around my nose, and it was dry and eczematous, and my eyes were very swollen. If you happen to have caught me about, 8 months or so ago, I looked like a pachyderm. It was dry and cracked and swollen, and oh my gosh, it was not very attractive and very, very itchy. But it's my medicine is working. Okay, have you mentioned Justicia? I saw it mentioned by an Indian. No, I've not mentioned it. I've not used it. I know that there are homeopaths who are using it. How do you spell? It's Franz Vermeulen. Franz is his first name. A second name is Vermeulen. Vermullen, I think. Franz Verm. I can't see it. It's all rubbed away. Oh, here it is. Vermeulen. Franz Vermeulen. I had the strange flu too. Had started the HP, so had low-grade fever and exhaustion. Took Umca and boron, gelsemium and Nux vomica. All right, Joette, I love you. I love you too. You make me chuckle as I'm learning what a great you are. Thank you. That's very sweet to say. All right, I was diagnosed with mycoplasma pneumonia and costochondritis. I'd love to know what happened. Any reports on someone using homeopathy and dying of CV? Not that I'm aware of. It's going to happen. I only have Aconitum 200, and it helped. Didn't have the other one. I'm totally serious. So if you get a new one, please message me. Okay, Kathy O'Neill. All right. Antimonium tart was helpful for me. Thought you often recommended Hepar 200, not 30 for throat, which is better. Do you think or suggest? I actually think they're both good. Hepar Self 6 is more for dental, but 30 and 200, I found that they both just as well. All righty. You love my singing. Thank you. Cuba treating the whole population with a homeopathic combination medicine. I know. I've got a copy of what they've used. Totally right about no fear with homeopathy. Just learning with Joette. Thank you. Do you think that COVID-19 resembles the same symptoms as pleurisy? I don't know. I mean, they're not calling it pleurisy. That's not what they're saying. Why so few cases in India? Isn't that interesting? Why so few cases in Los Angeles and San Francisco, where the homeless population is out of control? What's that about in New York City? Interesting, isn't it? Saskatchewan, Canada here. Nice to see Canadians. Should we keep taking Thuya intermittently? Well, look, I don't know that it would be of any real harm, but having said that, you can prove a medicine, meaning that you can get symptoms of it, and if that happens, you simply stop taking it. Maybe take a good whiff of essential oil of mint, or you could take a dose of camphor, but yeah, I think you could take a medicine until you have any conditions that bother you. We had it at the end of November. I used all my respiratory remedies. I took some work. I'm not sure I understand. Eupatorium not available in Canada. Eupatorium. Spell it. No, it is. I'm sure it's available. I'm sure it's got to be available. Check on Yonge Street in Toronto. What's that pharmacy's name? If anyone knows it, it's right. I can picture it on Yonge Street in downtown Toronto. I'm sure they would have Eupatorium. Sad there is no boron discount in Canada. I know. Clinical evidence. I have a headache right now, back of neck into the front of the head, Danielle, forehead and behind the eyes. I'm not going to make suggestions specifically for people, but go to my blog, look at headaches. I've talked a lot about it. Fewer cases of it in Cuba while they're using the homeopathy you can get it online. Okay. I thought it was past it. After 10 days, I got a right-sided sore throat and swollen glands. This is what's happening. I read more that this virus sometimes reactivates Epstein-Barr, so I took lycopodium. It was 90% better in 24 hours. Nice job, Lisa. Nice job. What would you give a 7-month-old who is fearful of sleep and not wanting to lay down? Well, we're talking about this, but I will tell you that I've got it here for anxiety. It's right here. Remember Ignatia 200 for anxiety, folks. Got it done with it right before craziness started, thanks to homeopathy medicines. I bet you auction off that book. Eyebright tea works great. You bet. Eyebright, it doesn't have to be a tea. You can get it homeopathically. Euphrasia is the medicine. That is Eyebright, and it works even better than homeopathic. Thuya, if we're going to use Thuya, we would use maybe once or twice a day if someone has had a vaccine. I think I had it in March, took Thuya and arsenicum first, then bryonia with Kali bicromium. Kali is partly for long-term sinus issues. Yes, all this was very helpful. Thanks. You're welcome. I thought my husband and daughter had pleurisy back in January, and I gave them bryonia as a remedy, and it worked wonderfully. They started to feel better within 4 hours. That's how you know. You want to see a shift. You don't want absolute 100% completion necessarily. You want to just see some improvement. And once you see improvement, then you can move on and say, okay, I've chosen the right medicine. Think of it as Tylenol. If you have a headache and you take Tylenol, oh my gosh, it's so hot in here, excuse me. If you have a headache and you take Tylenol and it helps the headache, but doesn't take it all the way, you're still onto something, right? You're thinking, yeah, something about this Tylenol. All right. I'm going to go through all of these. We've got wonderful, lots of good points here. Good day, friends. Okay. Let's see. Excited. I started my first Gateway class in 2 days. Absolutely. Join the Gateway class, folks. Start a Gateway class. Very expensive, super fun to meet with other mothers and others. All right. Similar face issue, Jana says. Dry cracks that happen 6 weeks postpartum after antibiotic drip. Petroleum 200 is what I use, but I also use Bovista 200. I use petroleum, I believe it was about once or twice a day, and Bovista every other day. Okay. I've learned so much from your blog. Thank you. What remedies are you taking for respiratory? Okay. Just go back, and for those of you who are coming in late, go back and watch it again. I mean, this is up on YouTube for days, hopefully years, and also, of course, on Facebook. So you'll be able to watch it on either one. Thompson Homeopathics in Toronto. That's it. Check Thompson. Thank you, Jacinta. Jacinta, I would love to get a hold of you. I've been looking for your number. Please, Jacinta, contact me or give me your number. I've been thinking of you on and off through the years. Please contact me or give me something. Maybe put it on this forum. Please contact my office. Think about you all the time. Jacinta and I took classes together in Toronto many years ago, and I would love to share some information with her. All right. Riverdale Homeopathy in Toronto. There's another one. There you go. It's Thompson's. Yep. Young Street in Toronto. I could only find Eupatorium in Canada except in a combo by Pasco. I don't know, but do check the pharmacy. All righty. Southern Ohio. My daughter and most of the students and teachers in her small private school had all these symptoms late January into February. Our county has almost no cases all this time led to our earlier exposure. Yeah, I think that's how this is working. Absolutely. Okay, folks, I could talk to you forever. This is so much fun. Look at this. Look at the hearts and oh, you're wonderful. Listen, folks, I have to tell you, I just want to say that just knowing that you're here is very heartwarming to me, especially in these days of being so sequestered. I can't see my children. I'm very frustrated that we couldn't Easter together. And I'm with my husband, thank God, and I'm in a nice place and beautiful weather, and I have wonderful neighbors and friends. It's just not the same as being with my children. So while this world is secluded, I can't tell you how touching it is to me to have you in my life. Getting to know all of you, reconnecting with people that I'm seeing here, old friends, clients, students. I love you all. And so just go to joettecalabrese.com/lunch, and it's free. This is just, you put this up on your refrigerator. Make life easy for yourself. Alrighty? And so with that, folks, I say good night. Mwah. And God bless all of you.